What's good, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful evening. Listen, congratulations to the newest mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. He did it. He ran an amazing campaign, and New York showed up and showed out. Okay, and they were not the only ones. Tonight was a blue sweep. Do you hear me? It was blue in Virginia, blue in Detroit, blue all over Georgia. And I'm so proud of my fellow Americans for stepping up because this is long overdue. A lot of people are saying, that they wish that they would have shown up like this last November 5th. We wouldn't be in half of these issues right now, but there's nothing we can do about that. We have to keep moving forward. And I feel like electing the newest mayor of New York City is us moving forward. So let's get into this article. So it says Zohran Mamdani wins the New York City mayoral race, and he will be the youngest New York mayor in a century. He's 34 years old. Listen, I'm here for it. I feel like we need some new blood. Andrew Cuomo he was not it. He was not it. He had his day in politics when he was governor, and it was all kind of women that came out and spoke out against him in regards to SA. We already know what happened with him with the senior citizens in the nursing homes during COVID. It's like, sir, have several seats. Um, he'll be okay. He's a multimillionaire. But I feel like between him and his brother, who got fired from CNN, they their whole family dynamic, like I said, they'll be okay, financially, but I feel like they don't have other people's best interest at heart. So maybe public serving, positions, especially positions of authority, are not in the best interest of the Como brothers. So hopefully they can retire. Andrew, he's getting up there. We need some new blood. No pun intended, but the fact that he is the youngest mayor in a century, like I said, I'm here for it. He has great, ideas in regards to making New York City more affordable. I honestly can't wait to see what he's going to do in New York. Excuse me, but what I have noticed, though, right, as all these Democratic elected officials, people are ready for change. And I feel like, Trump is on Truth Social somewhere, ranting and raving, whatever the case may be. But the day of the billionaire, just completely hoarding all this wealth. You know what I mean? Like if you have multi-million dollars, right? If you're a multimillionaire, you honestly don't necessarily have to work another day in your life and you'll be fine financially. But a billion, it's like people, because it's only one letter difference, but there is such a significant difference between a million and $1 billion. And it's just like, oh my goodness, you could make the world so much better. Again, I just made a video yesterday, right, about Mackenzie Scott using her billions to literally change the world, change people's lives. But instead, you have people like Elon Musk and others who are hoarding that wealth. And not only that, but making it harder for people who are in poverty. So Zohran Mamdani, he ran on a platform of democratic socialism, not to be confused with just, socialism. But democratic socialism is basically taxing the billionaires, taxing the 1%, and following along the lines of, like the Scandinavian countries, right? Where there's universal health care, affordable college education, really reinvesting in the people. And there's only so much he can do as mayor, right? He's not a governor, he's not, a senator or a congressman, but mayors have a lot of power, which is why Eric Adams was booted because he was taking, bribes from Turkey, allegedly, in regards to, them building construction. So I'm hoping that he is truly for the people, and I cannot wait to see what he does during his time in office. So it says, I'm trying to skip over the stuff that I've already talked about. He energized progressiveness in the city and across the country while generating intense backlash from President Donald Trump and Republicans, as well as some Democratic moderates. And of course, they went after him. I mean, they spent millions of dollars going after this man, but people saw through the rhetoric and they voted him in anyway. And that's exactly what we need. In his victory speech, after vanquishing former Governor Andrew Cuomo, Mamdani claimed a broad mandate and set himself up in direct opposition to Trump, who made a late night endorsement against him. In this moment of political darkness, New York will be the light, Mamdani said. Together, we will usher in a generation of change. And if we embrace this brave new course, rather than fleeing from it, we can respond to oligarchy and authoritarianism with strength that it fears, not the appeasement it craves. And see, that's what I mean, right? Like, I love the fact that he's standing up to these corporate bullies because that's exactly what they are. Let's just call a thing, right? Trump said that he wanted to be a dictator on day one. That's exactly what he's doing. And I feel like a lot of corporations, fell in line because they get to line their pockets and buy more yachts or islands or whatever they're doing with their money. But at the end of the day, they're just bullies, financially abusing, people who have less money or less power than them. So I'm really glad to see the New York put somebody in office that has their best interests first. This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one. So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have four words for you. Turn the volume up. That's right. I know that's right. I'm here for it. Mamdani defeated Como, who ran as a third party candidate after losing the Democratic Party in June by about 9 points, with Republican nominee Curtis Silva trailing far behind. Mayor Eric Adams, who also mounted a third party campaign for re-election after he won as a Democrat in 2021. And that's another thing, too, right? Eric Adams ran as a Democrat, but I feel like he was a sheep in wolf's clothing, or a wolf in sheep's clothing, I'm sorry. But he only wanted to line his pocket. He was really corrupt. He didn't do anything for the people. That's what I'm saying. I'm looking forward to seeing what Mary Mondami actually has in store for the people of New York City. Let me see. The victory caps a rise through New York politics for Mamdani since he launched his campaign roughly 1 year ago, transforming him from a virtually unknown state assemblyman who barely registered in polling in the incoming leader of America's largest city. Along the way, he pushed aside to the era of one of New York's most iconic political dynasties, not once but twice within 5 months. Now a nationally known public figure, and a political figure, Mamdani will attempt to enact a sweeping policy platform that inspired his supporters while managing an enormous municipal uh, bureaucracy and influencing national politics as one of the most prominent Democratic Socialists and Democrats in the country. Among other goals, Mamdani wants to freeze rent on rent stabilized units. That's a huge thing that he won on. People are excited about that. Enact universal child care, create a free bus program, and launch city run grocery stores. It is tempting to believe that this moment was always destined. There was not a single television camera there to cover it. 4 months later, and recently as this February, our support reached eye-watering heights of 1%, Mamdani continued. We were tied with noted candidates, someone else. Mamdani's victory is sure to be celebrated throughout New York City, but not just New York, but all around the nation. And that's exactly what people are doing. People are so happy. They were having watch parties in the UK. And I get it, right? New York is the literal, like, economic heartbeat of the world, especially in our country. But to see, I know the US, um, so everything that happens in the US affects the rest of the world. Because, again, the economic superpower of the world. But I'm excited to see him transform New York into a place that really helps its citizens out instead of just taking from them. So in New York, Mamdani's next challenge will be the tall task of uniting leaders in Albany and on the city council, many of whom were not eager to line up behind him. He's also the first Muslim mayor of New York. And so, of course, that's where 9/11 happened. And there is still a lot of Islamophobia and xenophobia in New York City, unfortunately. So NBC News exit polling found that Mamdani won across all racial demographics, with white, black, Latino, Asian, and voters of all of the races backing his candidacy over Cuomo's. Younger voters overwhelmingly backed Mamdani because he's the youngest in a century. He's not the youngest in history, but he is the youngest mayor in a century. With NBC News exit polling showing the voters under 45 years old favored him over Cuomo by 43 points. And that's another thing too, right? I feel like one of um, the common themes around a lot of boomers is that they are so reluctant to give up power. I don't know what it is because their generation before them, passed down the wealth, passed down, the keys to success. They retired, they stepped out of the way. But the boomers, baby, they're hanging on for dear life. Okay. I just found out yesterday that Nancy Pelosi was not going to seek reelection. And I'm like, Nancy, girl, if you don't get somewhere and sat down, like, first of all, nobody was thinking that you were going to. That you were going to seek reelection. But like, why would you want to keep being in politics at your extremely big age? I mean, I'm just saying, like, you would think that because Nancy Pelosi is a multimillionaire as well, right? Her stock portfolios are very lucrative. I'll say that. There's a whole tracker on Twitter that says, like, they follow Nancy Pelosi's what she invests in. But it's just like, at some point, wouldn't you want to enjoy your senior years, your golden years, or what they call them, the twilight years? Like, why would you want to continue being in politics? Just bow all gracefully and make room for the younger people to come after you, because we're the ones that are going to, ultimately live in this country. And it's a lot different than when they were younger. So Mondani said that Cuomo is a playbook of the past, and he's right. He says they sought to make this election a referendum not on affordability, but that consumes the New Yorkers' lives, but on the faith that I belong to, and not the hatred that they seem to normalize. So he's going to do everything to, make life better for New Yorkers, make things more affordable. Whereas Cuomo was there, representing for the millionaires and billionaires. And they have plenty of representation throughout the Republican Party. They don't need anything else. So with that being said, congratulations to Zohran Mamdani. I cannot wait to see what things he has in store, not only for New York, but hopefully if he chooses to stay in politics, perhaps he'll be governor or senator, or who knows what else he has in store for the future. But you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.